the friendships that I've made from that club is, bro, that lasts forever. Eh? And like, I would have signed 2 years, but someone came and took my spot. A good friend of mine came and took my spot. He tells everyone about it.
Are you still friends with him?
Oh, we're best of friends, bro.
Show me, baby girl, just don't. You already know that. So just tell me how bad you really. Show me, baby girl, just don't. You already know that.
What's good, Usos? How are you, man? Hey.
About time, man.
Took a while, but you know everything happens for a reason, isn't it? Pretty excited. You know, obviously we had this cooking for a long time, and then we thought you two needed to jump on it because I think you're very valuable to this. But I want to open the season with, I want to know our purpose and our purpose behind doing this show. So who wants to have a crack?
No, man, I just want to thank you and Q for this opportunity that we get to speak our life. But the reason why, I really wanted to get involved and the purpose behind it is that I want to impact people, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that I like to add value to, and that really connects to my purpose in my life in terms of my family. So, coming, obviously we're from Australia, born in New Zealand, Samoan heritage.
Aussie.
Samoan heritage, purpose is born into you from your parents.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people don't know it until a later age. But the going deep into what purpose is to me and my family would start with impact and value.
Well, it's funny that you say that, like, people don't know it until a later age. I think we're all at the age where we've experienced a lot of triumphs and failures in our lives. We've all walked a different path, but I think all our experiences, if we share our story, I think it can impact someone. And that's my purpose for doing this podcast. I just think if I share my story and talk about all my triumphs and failures, if I reach one person, then change their mindset, then I'm happy with that. Which is awesome. I guess that's what I'm trying to create, or what we're trying to create as a four.
Going back to Jess, when you talk about impact, like at what point in your life did you start to feel like impact was your purpose? Like what made you feel like that was the route for you? If there was one.
To me, it's massive. It's a massive thing living an intentional life, all right? Intentional life. And when I say that is the reason I wake up every morning. What is that thing that gets me up every morning? What is the thing that keeps me going during hard times? And that purpose was the reason, like, everyone's brought on this world for something. And I've got gifts and talents that I'm being blessed with. And, some people might think it's rugby. And I do believe that I do have gifts and talents that rugby has blessed me with. I mean, the Lord has blessed me with. But with rugby, I get to shine on the field and bless those who see me. And if someone out there sees me and sees me smile, or sees me score a try, or sees me do something that impacts them, that could be the one thing that changes their mindset into becoming a better person or get over some adversity. I remember we were talking with you, Sui. Yeah. What were you? How would you explain purpose?
I sort of resonate. Going back to you, Q, when you mentioned, when you talk about the one. Yeah, for me, I found mine through the hard times as well. And going back to you said we had to wait till we hit a certain age and stuff. I'll get back to that, but yeah, for me, I found my purpose through the hard times, and I had that passion. I guess I believe we all have stories, and they need to be told so we can reach that one. And for me, it's always been about the one, right from the beginning. And I know if I can impact the one, not only on the field but off the field, I know I've played my part, and that's what satisfies me and gets more hungry, to go again, because there's many more out there that we can impact. And I feel like if we don't share our story, that's selfish of us, eh?
Yeah.
Because there's, you know, we all come from different areas. You know, New Zealand. You know, you mentioned your Wellington, eh? Wellington.
Yeah.
Wellington or
Put it
Western
on.
Sydney?
Or
What's the
Western-
city, man?
I'm from Castle.
Pony.
Yeah, see, I'm probably similar. Like, you all know my story, you know, like, obviously my mum, single mum, bringing up 7 kids and my 2 cousins, and then used to were the first 2 I've ever told, besides my wife, about me trying to commit suicide. And that was only, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I told you, a year ago. And that happened in 08. You know what I mean? And I think that was, after me telling you that and you talking to me about how much impact that can make, is when I really thought about wanting to share my story all the time. I always thought rugby was my purpose, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking at it now, where I am in my life now, I feel like it supports my purpose. Do you know what I mean? I love rugby, I love playing it, but my purpose is to keep sharing my experiences, because I firmly believe there's not enough time for everyone to make all the mistakes, right? Which is why we're also here as well. If we can share all of ours, right? People out there can take ours and then make new ones, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like that's my purpose. That's why I enjoy doing what I do at the schools. You know, I enjoy doing my workshops at schools just as much as I do playing rugby.
So, you know, when you say about you thought rugby was your purpose, like, when do you think you kind of found that out? Because, like, we all play rugby. Like, our purpose is to play rugby and kind of fulfill our dreams, playing, you know, as high as possible, right? But then at some stage, that changes. Like you just said, like, you thought rugby was your purpose, but at what stage did you know that your purpose had changed from rugby to something else?
For me, it was probably the lockdown. You know, we had a few talks in lockdown that we thought lockdown was really good for us. You know, a lot of people thought it wasn't that good, but for us, or for me anyways, that's when I found out that rugby wasn't my purpose. You know, I remember doing a workshop or a Zoom chat with a rugby team, and just how much I helped them in lockdown, right? I started to feel that was my purpose, to impact. I mean, because I firmly believe, right, everyone is a part of the people's business, okay? In whatever work you do, right, every day you have a chance to impact somebody, okay? And that's what I call the people's business, right? But how is up to us individually, okay?
Can I just take you back to when you felt, when you thought your life was over? I think that was what I heard first.
Yeah.
And I think we need to touch that, because how didn't that change your purpose? You're saying the lockdown, but did that have a major effect on your purpose in terms of how you want to live and who you want to live for?
So in 08, 09 with my suicide, that it made me realise that adversity is adversity. Okay, it's gonna happen to you no matter what, right? You're either going into the storm, you're in the storm, or you're coming out. Okay, and that's what I realised from that. Okay, because I got over it pretty quick. It wasn't something that rattled me, right? And then when I done my throat, right, when I nearly died from breaking my voice box, after that, the lesson I got from that was, there's an Italian saying called carpe diem, right? It means live life to the fullest, which is why you guys see me the way I am. I joke around, mess around, do you know what I mean? But
Maybe a bit too much sometimes.
yeah, but that's why I got you guys, to keep me grounded, do you know what I mean? Oh, sweet. Come on, man.
Miss a few
But-
dates and
Yeah, so then now I look at things like, things that happen to you, they happen for you, right? If none of that happened, if my mum, what she went through, right, if I didn't try to commit suicide, if I didn't nearly die on the field, I wouldn't be doing this right now. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't feel like what I've went through. Basically, to me, what I've went through has ended up turning into my purpose.
It's
Sharing
funny
my
'cause-
story, my scars, that's all my purpose.
Like, 'cause, like, I've only known you for, say, about 4 years, but like, it feels like I've known you a lifetime. But talking to boys who know you, like, talking to like the boys who know you, they're like, oh, the way you were back then is like, you're full of confidence, full of energy. But when you talk about your suicide attempt, like, no one would know that, eh? Like, no one from the outside in, everyone think, oh, this guy's up and coming NRL player. You're getting paid a lot of money for someone who's still in high school. So why would this guy who's got the world in front of him,
Yeah.
you know, full of confidence, like feel like that? Like, and I think that's a big question that a lot of people would have, eh?
It's just, I never told anyone, not because I was scared of it. I just didn't think I needed to. Do you know what I mean? I was content. You know, it never rattled me not telling anyone. I just felt like I didn't need to until the lockdown when I told you to.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. It just came out. Right? And I remember I was crying and telling you, and it just happened. Do you know what I mean? But what I got from it, from telling you, was that someone out there is going to need it.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why I wanted to do this podcast.
Yep.
You know, we connect all the time, but you know, we're only sharing it between us, right?
What would be a trigger point so our viewers would know if their friends were ever, or their friends seen those triggers with someone? What is there anything that they can do? Is there any right word, right action?
I think with suicide, everyone tries to always say things like, your family doesn't deserve this, right? For me, that's the wrong way to go about it. You deserve more. That's the way I look at it, right? Everyone always goes, oh, you know, if you leave this world, your family is going to live without you. But you don't need to leave this world. You deserve to be here, right? Turn it around a bit like that. But, yeah.
No, you're right, because like with purpose, going back to purpose, like sometimes everyone thinks family should be enough, eh? But sometimes that's not enough. Like, because myself, like I inspired to be an NRL player first and foremost, but obviously it didn't, like my own traits, I was lazy. That's why it didn't happen. But everyone's like, oh, I should be doing for your family, but like I didn't train hard enough and think, you know, my family's there, I should be doing for my family, because it wasn't enough to drive me. But like at 34 years of age, I made my Super League debut. So it took me that long, you know, to kind of figure out, you know, what my purpose was, like how to get there, what my mistakes were, you know, through all these years. It took me that long to kind of figure it out, and then finally at 34, you know, I made my Super League debut. My American accent. But that's something I'm trying to teach my son, because that's, you know, his purpose is he wants to be a, you know, professional rugby league player. But, you know, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is, like, I've got all the failures like in my life to try and teach him not to make the same mistake I made. And like we're all pretty much in the same boat with our boys or our kids, you know, whatever they want to achieve, like aspiring to be better. And I know, Sui, you got your boy as well, who's almost reaching the teenage stages there, wanting to
Big day
rugby.
stage, eh? I've got a question for you, right?
All the girls.
I've got a question for you, Sui. Do you need a purpose to get through life?
That's a good question. I think you do. Because, with no purpose, it's like having no goals, eh? It's
Yeah,
like
no meaning, 100%.
no meaning.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting one that you brought up, just about finding, like, you mentioned at an older age. Why is that? Or why do you think it's the older age, and why not know it earlier? You know, if we've been through that experience, how can we help our kids when you talk about our kids? Or, you know, going back to, because why would they have to wait, or why would they have to fail and go through the same mistakes that we have, you know, to find that purpose again, to follow our, does that make sense?
Because of what we've witnessed up until that time, we've reached where we think we know our purpose. So because our kids are so young, like we've lived life, right? We're in our, like, you're in your late 30s, I'm in my early 30s, but like
45.
we can then teach our kids like what we've learned through that journey, and then try, you know, help them and not make those same mistakes we've made.
Yeah.
Help them find their purpose.
Yeah, that's powerful.
I think we have to understand, like, well, for me, right, if I didn't have purpose, I would have struggled with every adversity, every challenge, every opposition I faced. Right, I feel like you need purpose to get through. Otherwise, it's just gonna rattle you.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I mean? But then again, you thought you had a purpose when you were at Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
But then it also comes down to how deep your purpose is.
Yeah.
Because the deeper it is, the further you're gonna go.
Yeah.
Right?
I like
But so going back to you, you talk about your struggles and that. What struggles did you go through, and what was your purpose then to get you through to where you are now?
Yeah. To be real with you guys, I probably remember, it was probably 14, 15. You know, I was living a life, you know, way like, under my age, I was hanging out with like older guys, probably say 25, 30-year-olds. And I still remember vividly, I was about 14, 15, I was in the club, in the party, you know, managed to sneak in, had a beard at the time. And
Did you look the same when you were 14, 15?
I probably did. But I remember I was just, you know, drunk off my face, all drugged up, and I was like, man, life doesn't get better than this. This is purpose. Those are the exact words I said. I remember, and it stuck with me. And you know, fast forward 3, 4 years. You know, long story short, I end up in prison, sentenced to 3 years, and living that fast life. You know, it was like I always knew, like, you know, for me, hanging out with those boys,
Yeah.
you know, similar to those that you grew up, you know, the surrounding your environment. For me, it was just gangs. That's all. That's what inspired me, you know. And I'm just being real with you. And the minute I was inside, none of those gangs, none of them boys were there, and that was the big wake-up call for me. So then you know, with time on my side, I was in my cell, and I remember I started asking those questions. You know, what is purpose? What am I here for? Why am I put on earth? There's got to be more than life, than be locked up in a cell. So these are the questions that just keep running. And I remember it went back to that. It went back to far, like, you know, when I thought it was alcohol, drugs, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing with that. But for me, that was like, I thought that was it. And then I realized it led me to a dead end. And that was a big wake-up call for me. I realized that my newborn daughter, my wife at home, you know, suffering from my actions. That's when, you know, I started to wake up and started, you know, I have to take ownership here. I have to take responsibility. Like, if I didn't change now, it's probably going to, you know, at the time I had a younger brother as well. You've met Hala.
Yeah.
My thing was like, man, I don't want him to go through what I went through. I don't want to waste my my experiences, my mistakes, my lessons. Hey, respect the lessons. I don't want to waste those lessons and then let my brother go through the same thing. So that's where I feel like, you know, when you guys mentioned, or going back to your question about purpose, do you have to have a purpose? I feel like you do, because I wouldn't have made it here to where I'm at now, playing in the NRL, being able to achieve my dreams, playing Samoa, managed to get a debut for the Kiwis. Because I believe my purpose was, I got to go back out there and tell the youth, tell my brothers, hey, this is not the way, man. Like, this is what we, you know, sort of glamorize and listen there, and that's why I didn't really know what it meant when my dad or man used to tell me to protect your heart, protect your mind, your eyes, because, you know, whatever you allow flow from it, you eventually, whatever goes in, the input, it's gonna come out. So what you see, and you would, like, thinking that, I was like, that's what gave me the hunger and purpose. Like, I gotta go out, and you know, I still remember this like vividly. Like, I was released. Long story short, like, it was a miracle, and I was just like, man, I got nothing else. There's no more boys. I was just desperate for another, you know, for a chance. And I remember just in that cell, just cried out to God, asking for prayer. And then it was that time, like, you know, I felt that purpose. I felt faith. I felt to dream again. And it was that bus, you know, that bus trip home that I was going, I got to do it not only for my wife, my newborn, my brother, but my community now. So when Pete talked, you know, asked me about that question, purpose, that was my purpose. So I'm going to the NRL. No one's going to get in my way.
So, you know, you talk about environment. So the boys who you were hanging around with before you went in, did you, when you came out, were you friends with any of them still, or you were friends but you just chose not to go into that environment anymore?
Yeah, that was the biggest lesson, being inside.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that, because it taught me something, that your family will always be there in the hard times. In the good times, your boys, you know, and that was like, I was like this. And I remember I have this chat with my wife at the time, because I said, "No, my boys are gonna be here." This was before I went in. And again, my boys promised to be here, have my back. You know how it is. Hey, got your back no matter what. And that, for me, that was like the biggest lessons. I'm glad I went through that, because I realized, even during COVID, who was there for you guys during COVID?
Yeah,
We were.
Hey, just family. Hey.
We were at our worst COVID.
Yeah, and that's what I seen. So when I was inside,
Yeah.
it was my wife was my parents paying, you know, the consequences, and I realized it was selfish for me to put them through that. So you know, that's where that hunger for one came.
Just listening to your story is really starting to change this perspective of purpose now. Because listening to your story, when you were in, you thought, I have so much to give in this world. There's so much that I have in me that I haven't lived, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's purpose.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned family, my wife, and then to me, the family, your mum and dad, that was your why. Is that fair to say that?
Yeah.
Would you say your purpose was the reason why you live, and the why was the thing that kept you going?
Yeah, 100%. And you got to remember, like, I knew nothing about rugby league. I never played. So when I was released, that hunger and drive
was a
just
whole
like,
new thing.
I didn't care. So when there's that saying, hey, people not laughing at your dreams, it's too small.
Yeah.
And I said right from
When you
the
left.
get when I released,
Yeah.
everyone was laughing at me. My friends, family, and I was like, bro, my fight, you know, when you say that why, that purpose, I had to fight not only for my family, but my community, my school, those that are like, you know, going through the same patterns that I think that they can't change, it's too late.
Yeah.
How long did it take you from when you got released to make your NRL debut?
5 years. I said myself, I remember I wrote it down, and I remember a lot of people laughing. I remember there was a coach right in the local league, asked a question and goes, write down your dreams, where you see yourself in 5 years. I don't know how everyone else, I don't know if anyone, but I was just bold. I was going, bro, this is my purpose. I'm fighting for these guys, because one of the reasons why I wanted to be on TV at the same time, it wasn't for like the glam, you know.
Likes, eh? It wasn't
Yeah,
for
it wasn't for
likes.
likes. It was like for me, because when I was inside, we were watching rugby, and back in New Zealand, I don't know if you remember Baraka.
Yeah,
Baraka Cup?
I heard of that.
So I never played on it, but I remember watching it, and that's all we, you know, that's the only sports we were allowed, you know, at the time. So for me, I was like, man, if I can make the NRL, because I was friends with a lot of guys that were doing, you know, 10 years life.
Yeah.
I was going, bro, if I can just give them some hope, let them know, bro, no matter how many times you fall down in life, hey,
Get back up.
you can always turn around,
Pick the ball up.
pick the ball up and run straight up.
Straight. Yeah.
So I stepped.
So I step, even if there's free muckers, like I'll come by here.
No, you got a good story. What's about your time and how you got your crack in the NRL with, you know, the workload that you're doing and the jobs that you had to do to kind of just to make ends meet.
Yeah, like it's so interesting listening to Sui's story, because the purpose was different to the why. Hey, I felt like I knew my why straight away, because I knew I was doing it for my family. I was doing it for myself, because a lot of people didn't back me. But then when I got there, you're like, okay, what's next? And when I found that I understand my purpose is energy, I understand that my purpose is value, and I understand my purpose is making someone better. If I'm helping them achieve something they're trying to achieve, then that's my purpose. You know, that's a purely my. But if you ask me what my why is, that's my family. You know, that's my loved ones. You know, that's who I want to provide for. That's my why. But my purpose is I can live my whole life with the same purpose, and it's like a compound effect. You bless them, you give them that. You're actually trying to help someone else achieve their goal. That would be my purpose. But my why would be my family.
Yeah.
Providing endlessly, loving my wife endlessly. But I'd like to break that down in, if I had to have three main things that I could name them, it would be impact, value, and income. And with all three of them, I feel like it hits purpose and why.
Your purpose and why.
Yep.
I want to go back to you, because it's interesting. Like I've never, when you said right, you played rugby for your family. Normally that's that's strong enough to get us
Yeah.
to get us to where we want
Yeah.
most of the time, right? 90% of the time. What do you think it was, or why wasn't that strong enough, or was it not meant to be your purpose? Or looking back now, do you think your purpose was meant to be different back then?
I just think
Like
my
before you start, he is a good player. What's the name that took your spot?
so when I was Billy Slater. No, I gave it to him. I gave it to him. Hey, no, Billy Slater. I gave it to him, but now look at him. He's best fullback to ever play the game. But yeah, but looking back, like I said, but he made a good point. Is family is your why, but if your purpose ain't strong enough, then like you're not going to get anywhere. Like my traits, I was lazy. Like you know, and I'm happy to say that.
Yeah.
You know, there was like I was 18. I got picked up from the Storm. Didn't even care about like playing first grade. I was just going through the motions, and I got told to go and live in Melbourne, but I didn't want to go. You know, I trained for like 4 weeks, and I spoke to Craig Bellamy asking if I can go back home to Christina in Phoenix, and he goes, "Yeah, you can go back home." And like I didn't really care about rugby, you know, but like
Did not making it hurt?
not really. Like it did eventually, but not straight away. Like it didn't like.
Why were you there? Or why did you go in the first
Well, like
place?
it was just an opportunity to train full time, but like
Come last
when I
and
got the
finish, eh?
call, from the manager saying, "Oh, Q, Melbourne wants you to move to Melbourne and train full time with the opportunity to play," I was like, "Oh, just let me have a think about it." Like it didn't really jump out at me, so I didn't like. Yeah, at that age I didn't care, but when I got to like 19, 20, like that's when I was like I got the hunger of wanting to play, but like my laziness stopped me. Like you know, and I got like loads more opportunities. Like I almost signed for the Rabbitohs. You know, it was like pretty much a done deal, but they came to watch me play and probably had the worst game of the season when they came to watch me play. And I know it's because of the training I did, you know, before I got there. I knew they were coming to watch and I didn't prepare myself.
What would you say now that you knew you're lazy? So what are the triggers you do now when you feel lazy? What are the things that make you go, nah, not going back? Just for our young athletes.
So now when I feel lazy, I have to go train. I know that's the trigger, like, and that's what I'm trying to show my son, because I see like a few of those traits in my son right now, and like I have to talk to him about the lessons I've learned, you know, through my career, and if he wants to be a professional rugby player, like you got to get rid of these traits, like this laziness. Like don't get me wrong, I'll train hard, but I won't train hard long enough. Like I'll train hard for 6 weeks, I'll kill it, but then I'll stop training, but it will catch up on me, you know, and my performance will start dipping. But like that's the big lesson I've learned is, like I may have not played, like you boys have played NRL, you know, like you have had, I know, better careers than me, but one thing I can take from what I've learned is it took me a while to get to my Super League debut at 34, but to never give up, that's the big thing, is like, even though I reached my goal late, my mentality's changed now. Like through that process, I've changed, and that's something that I think is pretty powerful.
That's the win. That's the win.
That's
Do you regret any of that?
100%. Like you talk about like Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater, Cameron Smith. They were all there when I was in Melbourne. Like for me to not learn from the best players, that's the one thing I regret, because so much knowledge. Like even though they were just starting off, you could see the power that was there. Like the work ethic that was there. You know, I didn't take advantage of that.
Oh, that's buzzing. So where do you think that came from? Because you know, Jesse touched on it a bit as well, like finding a purpose later. So where do you think that came from? Like just being lazy and not taking, you know, your opportunities or taking things for granted.
Because you'd think you'd jump, like Melbourne Storm
I
hitting
know.
you at 18, you'd think you'd be buzzing to.
Well,
you know what I mean?
well, to me, like when I reached like 16, 17, 18, like playing NRL wasn't big for me. Like I didn't see that as a passion for me, but that came later. Like once they threw me out of the system, then I got that hunger for it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I kind of took it for granted, thinking I'm in here, like talent's gonna get me to where I want to be. But you know what they say, like talent can only take you so far without hard work, and that was me.
I don't think you Because what you did in championship is pretty special as well. I don't think everyone knows that he's won the comp in championship 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But back then you didn't come up to Super League. You know, so there's a lot of people who talk about in championship how much impact you had.
Yeah.
In terms of your skill set and stuff like that. So don't short. You know,
No.
I think it's still special what you done down there at Sheffield because everyone in Sheffield knows you. So it's pretty special in that way. And you've changed, like you changed lives down there.
But I think like I played Super League for Cass Tigers, but I think playing Super League was awesome. But I think the biggest thing I take out was like meeting the boys there. That's the one thing that I can be glad of going to Castleford. Like Super League was my dream, yeah, but the friendship that I've made from that club is, bro, that lasts forever. And like I would have signed 2 years, but someone came and took my spot. A good friend of mine came and took my spot. He tells everyone about it.
Are you still friends with him?
Oh, we're best of friends now.
Bro, I don't know. I was
They used
crazy.
to Billy Slater of Castleford Tigers.
Billy Slater in NRL, Billy Slater here.
You just keep getting taken by Billy Slater. It's crazy how you said like we've only known each other for 4 years, but we feel so close. Because when we first met, well, I didn't like you when I first met.
No one
But
liked
then
you.
we went from not liking each other to you had to be my best man for me to get married. You know what I mean? But I got two questions. All right. One is from listening to all of our stories about our purpose and that. Well, we all found it at different times.
Yeah.
So for those out there who are listening in that case, do you think, right, everyone's purpose comes at different times in their lives? Because obviously yours came a lot later than ours, but you still ended up finding one. And the other one is, how do you know when you found your purpose?
Well, for me, it was when I was with Toronto Wolfpack, and you know, I thought I wanted to finish my career there because I love the club, I love the environment. But you know, they brought a younger player in for me, but at that stage I was still playing pretty good.
Yeah.
And then when he came in, it was obvious that he was going to come in and pretty much take my spot. I had the drive to then train hard. Like it gave me the drive, it gave me a bit of purpose, bit of meaning, and I started training hard. And then that's when I signed. Like when they got rid of me, 4 weeks later, I signed for Castleford Tigers. Like, and then in my head I was like, no, I know now, you know, what I need to do to, you know, if I want to play at the top level of my career, and then that kind of changed my purpose to trying to show my son, because around that time is the same time my son knew that's what he wanted to do as well, as
crazy,
be a professional
man.
rugby player. But yeah, like I think everyone kind of finds their purpose at different times in their life.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Because see, like I said, I believe you're gonna find it at different times. I feel like it's gonna change over your journey, right? But the other thing is, I feel like when you find your purpose, right, the way I feel like when you know is when that alarm clock rings in the morning and you boom wake up, you're ready to crack on with your day, right? That's when I feel like you found it.
Yeah.
Like when you alarm rings, you're happy, you want to go, just win the morning, win the day. You know what I mean? You want to live every day as the best as you can. That's when I feel like you found your purpose. Because for me, I don't think I really found it until, like I said, until I found out that my purpose was impact, to make a positive difference where I can, right? Because I don't think I've ever woken up for a 5 o'clock alarm in the morning until I needed to make a difference for these kids at school or the younger players at the stadium. Because before that, I'm pushing bloody snooze 1 million times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I'm late to training like Sui, first day pre-season. Late to training, you know?
Nah, that's good, man.
That's me anyways,
Yeah.
that's me.
That's
So-
good.
That's
What about you, Sui? What do you think?
Yeah, I think just breaking it down to you, not going into deep detail, there's a book we read, Intentional Living,
Yeah.
from John C. Maxwell, and he talks about it, and he breaks it down to three parts. What do you sing about, what do you cry about, and what do you dream about? And for me, like I mentioned, my heart breaks for people that think once they hit a dead end, or once they hit rock bottom, or even going into prison, that their life is over. And that's what I cry about. And for me, I sing about my family. There's plenty of things that, you know, when you talk about singing, just as a surface level, without going too deep. And then the dreams, I think it all ties in. The dreamers, like obviously, dreams are like just this, like for me, what I see it's like life. Life is just full of mountains. You know, you conquer one mountain, you conquer one dream, NRL, boom. What's the next one? Super League, bang, go again. You know, and that gives you that purpose, that drive to, because life is uphill, eh? And John C. Maxwell, that's it.
Uphill,
he talks
man.
about everyone has uphill dreams, but downhill habits.
Yeah.
So
That was
you
Come
know,
on.
You know,
pretty much.
tell us, explain
That's
more.
good. That's
What's
good.
that?
Sorry, don't point.
No, but
Hit him with the-
yeah, it just goes back to like you know what we're all talking about, and just wrapping it up is like, you know, when you said alarm, like that's me as well. When you know I get a chance to go get around, you know, amongst the boys, what a blessing it is to you know be able to do this for a job, eh? And definitely don't take it you know lightly or for granted, because like you mentioned, like bro, imagine all those years, how many lives you could have impacted, eh? I'm not saying that it wasn't a waste, because obviously you can use those lessons to now pass down to your son and everyone else you cross paths, but you know who would have known like where it could have been, you know. So,
Maybe that was your purpose. Maybe your purpose was to go through that, so then you can show your son, so he can make it a lot easier. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, I didn't reach my goal, but it made me a better player, a better person, you know, in the process. Like, and I've learned a lot from, you know, all my mistakes, and finally reaching Super League when I was 34. So that's a big takeaway for me.
Yeah.
wow. So how old are you now?
I'm 35.
I
I'm
just
26.
Just with your question about purpose, you know, me, I think, like, to finish this off on a high from what I was trying to say from the start is just this little quote that I wrote down, and it says, God gives purpose, purpose gives meaning, and then meaning gives hope and significance.
Can you break that down to us a bit? Like, what do you
'cause
mean?
I heard so we go, hey, what's that? Break it down,
So
man.
God gives purpose, and that's well, for myself, that is impact and helping someone else achieve their goals, right? And then purpose gives meaning. So the meaning behind it is I want to see you win. I want to give you the best that I can, because I know that I'm all right. I have this purpose that I'm going to live my whole life, and I'm going to serve this purpose, right? And then meaning, meaning gives hope and significance. And significance and hope is that you're going to be really intentional in what you do every day, to make sure every day counts, to make sure that one person gets blessed, to make sure that that one action counts to someone else.
Nice.
Deep
That's it.
that, bro. Is that your assist?
That's my assist for today. That is my message for today, and I hope everyone will value from it.
Did you want to give a message about not being late to training, just so the younger boys can learn from your mistake?
Yeah, easy, man. Like in life, you're gonna get knocked down there. You're gonna get hit.
Speak, let the viewers
Speak
know,
right there,
please,
man.
right
You're
there.
gonna be late. You know, you're gonna get traffic. These are all the things out of your control. Doesn't matter how big or smart you are. Life's gonna knock you down. But it's not how many times you drop the ball. It's how many times you're willing to pick that ball up and run straight again and respect the lessons.
But if you
know,
knock the ball on,
Yep.
it goes back to the opposition there. So you got to wait for the ball to come back to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Oh, is
So
that what you're
knock
talking
on.
about? Oh, sorry, just to clarify.
Yeah, so knock on.
Let's go.